From St. Alphonsus Liguori's The School of Christian Perfection, published by Tan Books as The 12 Steps to Holiness and Salvation. This is from the last chapter, entitled Self-Denial and Love of the Cross. This particular section is called Spiritual Aridity. There is a great need of patience in bearing the cross of spiritual abandonment, for it is one of the hardest trials that a soul who loves God can endure. When a devout person is enjoying spiritual consolations, all manner of external trials are unable to disturb him. On the contrary, they only seem to increase the joy of his heart as they afford him an opportunity to offer his sufferings to the Lord and thus become more closely united to him. But to experience no devotion, no zeal, no holy desires, but on the contrary only coldness and dryness at prayer and at Holy Communion, is the most bitter pain that a soul that loves God can endure. St. Teresa says that such a soul gives the surest proof of her love when, without any apparent incentive, and even in spite of interior repugnance and agony of soul, she continues patiently on her way. By aridity of spirit and temptations, says the saint, the Lord proves those whom he loves. When St. Angela of Foligno was once suffering from this spiritual dryness, she complained to the Lord that he had abandoned her. "No, my daughter," replied the Lord, "I love you now more than ever, and regard you as more closely united to me than ever before." It is a delusion, says St. Francis de Sales, to judge piety according to the measure of consolations that we experience in the service of God. True piety, he continues, consists in the determined will to do all that is pleasing to God. By means of spiritual aridity, God unites himself intimately with the souls he loves in a special manner. What hinders us from being truly united to God is attachment to our inordinate inclinations. When God, therefore, desires to lead a soul to his perfect love, he endeavors first to free her from all attachment to created things. To this end, he deprives her, little by little, of earthly goods such as riches, honors, relatives, bodily health, and so forth. Then follow contradictions and humiliations of every sort. These are so many means the Lord makes use of to divest the soul of all attachments to creatures and to self. In the beginning of the soul's conversion, God often gives her a flood of consolations. In consequence of this, the soul is gradually weaned from attachment to creatures and gives herself to God, but not as yet in a perfect manner, for she acts more for the sake of consolations of God than for the God of consolations, as St. Francis de Sales so beautifully says. It is a common fault of our fallen nature that in everything we do, we seek our own gratification. The love of God and Christian perfection do not consist in sweet feelings and sensible consolations, but in overcoming our self-love and in fulfilling the will of God. In the lives of God's greatest servants and saints, we see the milk of consolations give place to the more substantial food of afflictions, and this it is that enables them to bear the burden of the cross on their journey to Calvary's Mount. To a very holy person who suffered from spiritual aridity, St. John of the Cross wrote as follows: "Never were you in a better condition than now, because you were never so humbled and so detached from the world, and never did you recognize your misery so well as at this very moment. Never were you so indifferent about yourself, and never did you seek yourself less. Oh, how Dear to the heart of God are acts of confidence and resignation in the midst of the darkness of spiritual aridity. Let us, therefore, place our unbounded trust in God, who, as St. Teresa says, loves us more than we love ourselves.